here at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson. Hopefully, you all are doing great out there. Hopefully, you're having some fun. I know it's bright and early on whatever the fuck day this is. What is today? Today's Thursday. Welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. Again, I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson. And hopefully, you all are doing good. Today, we're going to be talking about companies, man. Companies. We'll get into it. All right. So, those of you that don't know, we talk about comic books, comic book artwork, my comic book artwork, my homestead. We talk about real life. We talk about movies from horror to sci fi to thrillers. We try to keep that drama stuff at bay because there's plenty of people that like the drama stuff out there. Thrillers, all those goody good movies and stuff like that. Anything nostalgia, we like to talk about. And today we're talking about companies. Now, when I talk about companies, I'm talking about companies that I get licensed product for. Being an artist, there's a group of us out there in several different groups, and we do stuff for Stranger Things. You know, officially licensed cards for different companies. These have already been out there for a long time, so I can show these nicely. But this is the stuff that we do, you know. And these companies make a killing off of us, because they insert these cards into packs out there. And you're not guaranteed to get a what we call art cards. Now they used to be called sketch cards, but we like to call them art cards as our community does. Most of the time, these companies send these to us really protected, meaning they send them to us in a hard box with a piece of foam rubber that separates the box from the card, and they package it really really nice. And we worked for many different crews, The Walking Dead, many Walking Deads. I think I've worked on at least 4 or 5 different sets of The Walking Dead. Even Mr. Matt Hooves here tried to sell this card on his socials, but I still have it. From Dawn, Joseph Michael Linsner's Dawn. You know, dun, dun, dun. It's a Chaos Comics, which we're getting ready to talk about that one. But Chaos Comics there with some Lady Death. And actually, this was Chaos Comics without Lady Death because I had to eat these. And I'm not telling anybody to go outside of TikTok, so fuck off, TikTok. They're already giving me a fucking restriction, which we're going to appeal because we're not telling anybody to go outside of fucking TikTok to buy anything. You fucktards. These I had to eat because they were all Lady Death cards, and there was no way to technically change them to um, Lady Demon at the time, so I had to eat the Lady Death cards. So these are mine. Now I can do what I've done before and just paint over the top of them and redo the entire card if I really want to. Don't forget to like, share, and follow as you get here, because we talk about all kinds of cool stuff. Um, and again, this is just a few of the cards that I worked on. I mean, I've worked on all kinds of sets so far. Let's talk about them. I do work on Magic the Gathering cards as well. The rune cards. You can paint on those. We just talked about Chaos or Dawn. So I've got quite a few Dawn cards here. So I think I did 100 cards for Dawn at the time. So I got quite a few comps, but all of these are worked on. And some of these I'm going to revisit and redo. This is for Marvel Metal Universe, the Avengers side of things from Skybox. These are what they call the AP cards, which is the artist proof cards. But right there's the AP on it, on the top. This was a fun one because I like the thickness of this card. That is one card. This is what they call the artist choice from Viceroy. They're a cool company to work with. I haven't worked with them in a hot minute. And then, of course, like I said, the Chaos cards. This is what they look like blank. Right there. The Dynamite, which is the zombie version instead of like the Marvel zombies. I don't know if you guys have seen those. Appeal not approved. Of course not. You're a dumbass. So you got Dynamite cards. This is their zombie line that turns all of the popular characters that Dynamite Entertainment handles into zombies. And that should be with the Dawn cards. There. Two different Red Sonja sets. You got the 50th anniversary, and you've got the She Devil, Red Sonja She Devil. But this is the 50th anniversary set that I worked on. Again, blank fronts, nicer cards, a little bit thicker card. These new cards, I've got issues with this whole new card set that I've been working with. Again, nice thick cards. This is the Red Sonja She Devil, right there from Dynamite Entertainment. Dynamite has bought up a lot of public domain characters over the years, and it's kind of sad in a way. Chasing Amy, yes, the movie Chasing Amy by Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith actually had to approve these cards when they went out, but you could not use the two main characters. Go figure. You couldn't use Ben Affleck, or you couldn't use whatever the girl's name is. I can't remember who played Amy. I can't remember what her name is. Somebody knows the movie out there, frontwards and backwards. Those of you that are into gaming, Fallout. I hated this card set for Fallout, honestly, because what they wanted was three designs created of the characters, of some of the characters from the from the show. Well, it is a show now, from the comic, or good lord, from the game, and they wanted it reproduced on the 30 cards that you had. So each design had 10 cards to it, and you had to reproduce that same design on every card. I hated that set. But my all-time favorite so far, and it's on a thinner card as opposed to some of these others, is this one that I did. No, this is the Transformers. This is the Transformers set. This isn't the set I love. Good morning, Roy. Welcome to the broadcast booth, if you're actually here. But this is the Transformers set right there. And the set I ultimately loved is this set right here. So far. This is my ultimate love set right here. And it is the Puppet Master set. from Dynamite Entertainment and Full Moon Features. They collaborated together to do a card set, which was pretty cool. I'm tired, man. I'm tired. So that's a cool set. Those are the licensed stuff. And then these are just for funsies. The science fiction, the Artists Unite out there has a group has a whole slew of cards that they've got. This is the science fiction section. And again, these are nice thick cards. I like these cards. They're easy to work on, paint on, whatever you want to do. Right there. That's the science fiction ones. I've got the monsters and we've got dinosaurs. And I've drawn on several of these, So you got the monster cards from Artists Unite. And then you've got the dinosaur. This is one of their first sets. Was the dinosaurs. It's got a really cool back on it. Boom, boom, boom. But we got all those to draw on. Not to mention the licensed cards to draw on as well. But now we're going to get into this section. Yeah, I'm glad you're awake for a change. And you're on the right day. It's all good, man. It's all good. I completely understand when people don't make it. It's life. You can't always make the show. So, as you see, we have worked on a ton of sets. Like I said, my very first Walking Dead set sucked. I'm just going to be honest. And a lot of my cards sucked because I didn't know what I was doing whenever I first started. I just happened to see other artists out there working on licensed product. And I'm like, hey, how are you guys doing that? How'd you get into that? Well, talking to the right people, there were some friendly folk out there that got me sent in the right direction. They're like, hey, hit this guy up, and they work. They're the correspondent for Tops, or the correspondent for Dynamite Entertainment, or the correspondent for the Star Wars sets. Haven't gotten in on any of the Star Wars sets yet. I've been trying to hit some of the ones here lately, just because there's some good ones coming through, and it's all my, I can't say childhood. It's my early years in the 20s, whenever these started coming out, like Chaos and Evil Ernie and Lady Death and Dawn, all these cool comics and stuff like that. So I try to hit the sets I really like. And Puppet Master, I've always been a fan of Puppet Master, even though a lot of their movies stink. They suck. Let's just be real. But it's just the nostalgic value of when the Puppet Master came out. When Puppet Master came out, it was just completely different than a lot of shows out there, a lot of movies. And they just went overkill with all the characters that they did, and started making them into their own individual movies, which was cool. And I like it. And I know several of the people that actually worked on the project now. So just by connections that I have. So working on these sets, if you would have looked at any of those other cards, they were packaged properly. Well, this latest set that I got in, and we're going to get into that in a minute, came in, sorry, in the shoddiest way possible. Number one, I started corresponding with Dynamite Entertainment and their liaison, if you will, back in May 4th. Well, I waited around because the deadline is June 16th. Today is the 11th. That means I've got 5 days, which I actually have a little bit longer than that because I just got the cards in. And he gave me an extended little bit of time. I asked for 50 originally. Well, I get a message back from him after I wait about, because sometimes it takes about a week to 2 weeks for them to arrive, even though they're printed and ready to go, as they like to say. Well, I wait for 2 weeks from the 4th, whenever I get the first correspondence and say, hey, I want 50 cards. Crickets, crickets, crickets. I hit him up. I'm like, hey, cards on the way, deadline's looming. He's like, well, as of no fault of yours, we are running low on supply, so we'll see if they actually send you anything. Okay. Well, I know I responded pretty quick whenever I got the email because I have my notifications on that one turned on for anything for Dynamite Entertainment that comes through. So, waiting, waiting, waiting. I finally get the cards yesterday. Here we are, into June. I started corresponding with this company, and that's the worst part about the whole thing, is that you do get your order in a timely manner, but it still takes anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes an entire month, to get the product in, and then you've got a very short window to get all the product back to them, which sucks, in and of itself. But you expect some quality whenever things come in. You expect packaged properly when it comes in. Well, I asked for 50 cards. I get 10 plus one oopsie card, is what they call them. Normally, they sprinkle in a little more than that, but not this go around. This is the protective package that it was put in, all 10 cards, or 11 cards, technically. Right here. Okay? Then thrown in a bubble wrap mailer. I'm not going to show you the address and all that good stuff, even though it doesn't matter. Bubble wrap mailer. And you can already see how distressed the packaging is, you know. And this isn't from me opening it because I cut it straight across right here. This is from, that's how it came in delivery, you know. This to protect the cards, this to protect the cards. So that's your two pieces of protection. Before, when they would package this, like I said, they would come in a box similar to this, but it would be a white cardboard box, and it would have these individual dividers to divide the cards from bouncing around on the edge of the box that they would send it in. Days of old when that happened. Oh, fudge pecker. You get to see my under of my desk. I just killed my entire setup up here. So give me just a minute. I'm going to have to adjust some things. Sorry about that, folks. Sorry, Roy, since I don't know how many people are actually watching right now, other than you. Let me try and get this fixed again, because this does not like to do what it wants to do. It wants to do its own damn thing. Come on, sit down. All right. Sorry about that, folks. And now let's readjust the angle here. Maybe, maybe, maybe. There we go. All right. So when I get these cards in, that was a bug. That wasn't an orb. They're already damaged. All my other cards came in pristine condition. These have a bent corner, like somebody dropped them on the corner of a desk or something. Like they just dropped them, bink, and it hit that corner specifically. I don't know if you can see that or not, but you can see it right there in that corner. You can see how it comes back a little bit right there, whereas this corner does not. They're a little bit flimsier card. This is what the back looks like. And you see it has Coffin on there. So that means that Evil Ernie has been bought back by Brian Paluto. But you can see that card right there in that corner. I'm going to show both sections of camera. Sucks. So I'm going to try and press them out as best as possible as I draw on them. But these card companies need to do better. Number one, we're not getting paid hardly anything at all for working on these cards. We do it because we do it for the love of the art and the love of the characters. Now I can't show you what I've drawn up because that's a no-no. But the time constraint sometimes is the shitty part of the whole thing. Because even though they say that these are drawn up and ready to go or printed up and ready to go, it still takes 3 weeks sometimes for them to get here. Well, that's 3 weeks you could have been working on these cards, had they gotten them to you in a timely manner. So the companies need to do better because either this was dropped at home office in New Jersey, get a rope, by the person that sent them out themselves, or these were some of the leftovers that weren't going to make the cut. And they're like, oh, damn, we got to get these out to this person. Well, what do we got left? Even though I know I was probably one of the first people to correspond with them as soon as that hit my email. So they need to do better because people want pristine cards whenever they hit the shelves, whenever they hit the collector's market. Because there are a lot of people that's all they look for. They don't care about the card set. They look for the artist cards in the set, in the packs, in the boxes. Because they've got their specific artists that they enjoy and they like. Now, like I said, there's been a few that time constraints I hated, and there was a lot of card sets that I didn't like that went out. And that's why I wish I had the time to work on a lot of these sets because the more time you have to work on them, the better the quality is. Now there are some people that crank out quality no matter what they do, you know. And I like to take my time with some of these cards, but with the time restraints that they leave you, you don't get that quality of time. And it sucks because you want to do a good product. You want to put something good out there. But if you go, you can find quite a few of my cards on eBay right now. And so a lot of them suck. I'm just going to tell you that right now. A lot of them do suck. And, that's coming from the guy that drew them. But then there's quite a few better ones out there as well. Just like some of the ones that I've got from the Walking Dead set, my later sets. Because my first sets, I didn't know what I was doing, like I said. Whenever I got into the whole art card scene, which was called Artist Sketch Cards at the time, and then somebody decided they wanted to change the name because it sounded cooler, and it is cooler. We No one told me how to do them. They just said, here's the information, get into it if you want. And so I did. I was using colored pencils on there, on the first paper, the first set of The Walking Dead that I ever did. And I was using mixed media, and it just didn't look good. They were kind of crappy cards. And then I evolved my style over time, especially asking questions, you know. And then the flimsier the card, the worse it became because you would get some bleeds, especially bleed through to the back. You would get all kinds of crap happening on your cards. And it just wasn't cool, you know. So then you're trying to do some mixed media stuff from paint to um, pencils to markers, so on and so forth to make it look cool. And then you wanted to do a little bit of a gimmick, like with my chaos cards. Several of those glowed in the dark, you know, which is probably what's going to happen here with my Evil Ernie set that I'm getting ready to work on. There's going to be some glow in the dark cards with these as well. So these card companies need to do better. They know how many artists they have on standby. They know how many cards are going to be pushing out, most likely, because most people don't turn down the sets anymore. They used to. People used to turn down the sets left and right. There's been a few that I've turned down 100% because time constraints or um, just I didn't care anything about the set. Now there were some that I wanted to happen, like the Evil Dead, Ash versus the Evil Dead, and the Elvira card set, because I did preliminary artwork for those. But as far as I know, those never came to fruition. I think they died on the vine for whatever reason. And those two I seriously wanted into, so I did the preliminary art for them and sent it in. And either I didn't get chosen or they killed the sets because I don't remember seeing the sets ever come through. Once Puppet Master hit, I took, I think, I can't remember how many cards I got on that one, but those were one of my best sets, and that's one of my newer sets, if you will. And the cool thing about the Puppet Master one, when they did the whole preview Kickstarter video and stuff like that for Full Moon Entertainment, my cards were showcased right there on the video itself, so you could see them splayed out, and it was like, hey, I drew those cards right there, and it wasn't just mine, but there were some other cards mixed in there too. But the majority of the ones that they had splayed out that they panned across, for that video were my cards. So that was pretty awesome. That was a good time. So that was a fun one to do. And it was right up my alley as well because it's something that I loved. Just like the Chaos cards um, with Evil Ernie and the Chaos universe back then. Even though I used quite a few Lady Death cards in my set that I could change over easily to Lady Demon because it's the same character just in red, you know. But you're not always going to work on sets that you like. Now, for a hot minute, I was just taking set after set because it's money coming in no matter what. So I was just taking set after set and just doing stuff. It was like Fallout. I had no clue what. I mean, I'd seen the games and things like that, but I didn't know the characters. I didn't know, you know, um, who to draw up, who would be a good, candidate to draw up, and all that good stuff. So I had to ask questions before I even got started on all that. And the art card community is a good source. You get some jerks like you get in any fashion profession or whatever that just don't want to help you out, that are just jerks about the whole thing. I'm better than you, blah blah blah. I've been doing this since the dawn of time. Kind of like people with their sports teams. My team's better than yours because they've been around since the Neanderthal times, and they better have some wins under their belt in the championship realm. Yes, Roy, I'm talking about your team, your damn team. One of the worst teams in the league, full of a bunch of crybabies, kind of like the Spurs last night. And who shouldn't be in there anyway. Um, these card companies need to do better. They need to send out quality stuff because that's what people look for in the end. Is they look for, because some of these people get these cards graded, you know, and so if they're already coming back with a bent corner, well, that's already taken the value down of that card if they get it graded, you know. I saw one of the artists who had worked on a set, and his card was on eBay, and he was like, "Go ahead and buy it, I dare you." He wasn't selling the card, but somebody else was that found it, and they had an astronomical price on it, close to $4,000 um, on the asking price, the starting bid. You know, and we see that a lot. I've seen one of my art cards go for like close to $500 on eBay before, and unfortunately, I don't see that proceed. You know, and it's sad that we did the card for like $3 or $5 at the time because they've upped their price. But yeah, we're only getting paid like $3 to $5 per card. You know, they do change it in some instances where you can get $10 per card, which still means you've got to do 10 cards to get $100. That's not the case with the Evil Ernie over here. So, but these card companies need to do better. They need to get back to the hard cases instead of this being your protector, you know, because I mean, you can already kind of see right there how it was, because that's a permanent fold in here, and you can see that this is all wonker jawed in there. So if I've lined this up with how these were in there, oh look, that would be how it sat in there on this corner that got pushed down, and that would be the corner that's all fucked up. And then, not to mention, being in just a simple, tiny envelope right there. Mine will be packaged better than that when it goes out. And just to preserve some, dignity to the cards. And like I said, I'm going to try and press those out um, and see if I can get that out of there for the collector. Um, Again, unfortunately, my AP card, my proof card, that my oopsie card right here is still going to have that bend in it, so I'm going to try to get it out as well. But all in all, these card companies that want us to produce on their product need to do better. I don't know if the rest of the companies are still sending it out the old-fashioned way, which again came in a cardboard box. It was a collector box basically, not a collector box, but a hobby box, kind of like a comic book box only for cards. So it's got this fold on it. You've got the hard section, and then you've got the fold on it that slides into itself to keep the cards protected. So that's what the card companies need to send these out in, especially the ones that we're working on. Again, you can see how damaged this came just from point A to point B. And it's not cool. I mean, any stretch of the imagination, because again, your collector deserves better out there. Even the card packs that these come in are a better protection than how they sent these cards out to us. Now, Not saying that somebody that got a bigger order than me because we're giving you what's left basically. Even though you asked for 50, they could have got the better box. You know, they could have got the protected box. Protect the box, man. Protect the box. But that's just my gripe on this. That's just my gripe. All right. So let's get into topic number 2, homesteading. The homesteading side of things is coming along quite nicely. If you follow me on Facebook or anything else, I'm going to be posting on here as well. But the garden's doing great. Uh, I've got tomato plants that are over my head, and that's above 6'2". For those of you that don't know, and my pepper plants are doing great as well. They're getting up there. They're probably about 3.5, 4 foot tall, which is much better than they ever have been. Now I do get some pepper plants that get up to, you know, probably the 4 to 5 foot range, but right now these are doing tremendously well. Pretty much everything I've planted out there in the vegetable garden section with our new composting beds is doing amazing right now. The tomato plants are more loaded than ever. And yes, I also incorporated what's called, I can't remember exactly what it's called right off the top of my head, but you basically wrap copper wire around a post or a stick and you stick it in the ground and have the point going towards the sky, and it draws in all of the electrolysis, I guess, if you will, um, into the spikes, into the copper itself, which also helps uh, your abundance of your garden grow as well. So I don't know if that's helping or if it's just the compost method. I'm not sure. A lot of people swear by the copper uh, twist in their garden and won't ever not have it in there because supposedly the copper also helps keep the bugs away as well. So we'll see. I haven't seen really any bugs out there yet, but there's also another way to do it where you connect everything together and you have a copper wire going through every aspect of your garden and it supposedly keeps the bugs away. So apparently they don't like copper. So that's cool. Cool to know. So we'll be working more on that. Working on the front porch as well, turning it into a cat sanctuary so that the cats can get their outside time. Like Angelo has been disappearing, so we haven't let him outside. Period. Since we got him back, he ends up at now friend's house down the way, and which is about a mile and a half, 2 miles away. And then he just decides, hey, I don't want to go back. And it's not like he's not getting food, he's not getting love. I mean, he's getting all that stuff here. So why he's started disappearing all of a sudden, we don't know. Other than the other cats that have been hanging around the house, you know. And so we were building a cat sanctuary on the front porch, and I worked on most of that yesterday. And so I've got one side up with the chicken wire and hardware cloth and all that good stuff, and then some lattice that was already there um, on a certain portion of the porch right there that they built on that they poured later. They put like this half round thing right there for whatever reason. I don't know why, but they did. And so it had some lattice work right there hooked into some T post. So I took all that down, reused the lattice on where the chicken wire and the hardware cloth is on that side, and then I'm building a box frame for the window so that we can put a kitty door in, basically something small enough that the cats can go through and the dogs can't. So that they'll have a way in and out, just like a doggy door. And so it took me a lot longer to do that than I was expecting yesterday. And I was worn out after that. because that was a lot of work. Putting up just one wall, you know, building it, designing it, figuring out how I needed it to go. And then I've still got some cuts and things like that to do on that wall. And then I can continue on the front section. I'm going to be rebuilding a door. I took the old decorative door off that I built, half door that has basically driftwood door is what I built. I built a frame, and then I took all this driftwood that we'd been collecting from the river and put it on there and made it really cool Art Deco door, basically with driftwood. So it looks really good. But I'm going to use that at the pond section back in the back, where the koi pond and the goldfish pond is. And then pretty soon we're going to be digging that out so that the geese and ducks have a place to be away from the chickens, if you will. So, but this whole cat play place is what it's going to turn into. Is going to do a double function. It's going to get the kitty litter boxes out of the house, so that means we don't have that kitty litter smell. Those of you that own cats know that smell. And number two, it lets the cats get their outside time without running away. Because we've got one cat that hasn't had the opportunity to be outside since he was born, basically. Whenever he was a rescue cat and was already supposed to be gone to somebody else. Well, he's now ours. So, unfortunately, Smeagol. And now the little shit, don't know where he learned it. I guess it's just an inherent thing. But now he's fucking marking different places of the house. So it's like, no, not going to happen. You're about to get your ass fixed. And you shouldn't be marking in the first place. So that's what we're dealing with right now. Finding little mark spots where he's been marking all over the house. Little shithead. So that's a no-go. One reason why I don't like cats is because of that aspect alone for the males. But, you know, it is what it is. He's a rescue cat. He's never been outside a day in his life for the most part. And again, he was supposed to have already gone to somebody, but nobody wanted him for whatever reason. So we were stuck with him. Not like we are going to kick him out. What else we got going on? A cool aspect that's getting ready to happen as well is my office is going to expand. Got a screened in porch right here, right behind us, on this back wall right here, that goes to the main door that we use to go in and out of the house with. We're about to change some things up. We are about to knock this wall down behind me. No, he was meant to be with you, bub. He wanted to go home with you, Roy. And you semi frowned upon that for whatever reason. I don't know why. I'm just kidding. We're going to knock this wall down. I'm going to build on the other side first. Going to clean all that out over there. I'm going to knock out the screened in portions area out there. And I'm going to build some real walls over there. And then we're going to expand the office out for another 100 feet. So that's going to take my semi-cramped office and expand it out. I'm going to work in the back corner, so I'll be looking at the cow pasture again. And the thing with that is I'm going to build a new desk. I'm going to get away from the desk that I've got that's way up high. And I'm going to have it down low to where I can lean into it a little bit more and kind of do a little cool thing in the corner over there. Just got to figure it all out because it is going to be in a corner this time, so that I can look out two different windows if I want to. I got to figure out how I'm going to set everything up because the TV, I've got to figure out where that's going to go. It's going to have in wall bookcases. So that's going to be a plus because there's or a brick wall right there. So I can't. I mean, I could drill into the wall and make things happen, but now I want you to do the work, man. I want you to cut the wood. I want you to put up the wood. I want you to put the walls up with me. I want all that good stuff. That's what I need help with. But but no, it's going to be fun. It's going to be cool. We've been talking about it, and so that's going to add an extra 100 feet to the house. I know that's not a lot, but we're at 1,600 square feet already, so that'll push us to 1,700 square feet. You know, so that'll be cool. I know it's not like some people's houses, that are 5,000 square feet or more. That's a lot of house, though. I mean, I know there's a lot you can do with that much space and much room, but all that goody good stuff. But to each their own. I'm simple. I don't need a 5,000 square foot house. You know, I already live in a haunted house, so I'm good there on that aspect. But this is just going to give more room to the office. Down on this section where we're talking from right now is going to become the print station because it'll be easy access. I'll have a computer down here or computer. Well, not won't even need to have the computer down here. What I really want to do is get one computer with multiple screens so that I can have my things set up the way I want. And right now, I can't do that just because both of these computers are old and suck. This one over here is pre 2009. I think it's actually a 2008 or a 2007, but I am pushing Windows 11 on it because I could. This one, my all in one that's right here in front of me, is a little bit newer, but it can only go to Windows 10. It cannot be jailbroke, if you will, to a Windows 11 because I've tried. Like my older computer was able to jailbreak it to a 2011 model. So I'm running Windows 11 over there. But over here, not so much. So it's done. Doesn't get updates. It doesn't get, you know, well, I mean, it gets a few of the critical updates that you can still bypass up until a specific time, either this year or next year, whenever they're going to completely kill it altogether. And so, I'm in the process of looking for a new computer as well. So that I get one main computer, give me two or three monitors, or even, well, no, I don't want to put it on my TV because I'll be using that. So I'm looking forward to this whole new setup. Again, printing process down here that keeps the smell away as well because I don't know if you guys have ever used resin 3D print before, but it's pretty potent. So um, that's why they have the case cover over the top, so you don't get this to be smelling all that all day long when it's just sitting there. And then again, I've got to figure out why it's still sticking to my uh, cellophane at the base. So I needed to reach out to some more people that do resin on a more regular basis and try to figure out what the fuck's going on. Oh, let's see. Between commissions, these art cards, and just life in general, it's pretty cool. Things are going well. Let me show you another pickup I found at Savers. Yes, Savers is a good source to find things at. Let's start with the holy cow, David Duchovny, X File star, one of my faves. So I've already got a Gillian Anderson book over here. I was hoping this one would be one of those that was secretly autographed and they didn't know it. Um, Also by David Duchovny, Bucky fucking Dent. So there you go. There's another book by David Duchovny. The difference in mind between man and the higher animals, great as it is, certainly is one of degree and not of kind. Charles Darwin. So he gets a forward in here. Basically, this is about a cow and a pretty happy one at that. Her long, lazy days are spent eating, napping, and chatting with her best friend Mallory. One night, Elise and Mallory sneak out of their pasture, but while Mallory is interested in flirting with the neighborhood or neighboring bulls, Elise finds herself drawn into the farmhouse. Through the window, she sees the farmer's family gathering around a bright box. God. And what the box God reveals about something called an industrial meat farm shakes Elise's understanding of her world to its core. There's only one solution: escape to a better, safer world. And so a motley crew is formed. Elise, our wide eyed, wisecracking narrator. Jerry, a Torah reading pig who's recently converted to Judaism. And Tom, a suave turkey who can't fly in Holy Cow. David Duchovny's charismatic creatures point the way toward the mutual understanding and acceptance the world desperately needs. So there you go. I was hoping this was going to be autographed by him, but it's not, unfortunately. I'm not sure who did the illustrations yet, but right there, Fox and the chicken. All right, that's one thing I picked up. And mom's doing okay. Had a conversation with her. She is getting a pacemaker put in. That's due to her heart not pumping properly. That's why she's been having her pass out spells and all that good stuff. And so she gets a pacemaker put in quite a few months from now. The only opening they really had was in September, so she's got a while before she gets that. So hopefully she doesn't have any more of her spells where she passes out. Trying to get up to go see her, before too long, because I've got a lot of work to do. There, I've got a tree to take down. I've got a run for her dog to build. All the supplies are there except the concrete. Um, so, got quite a few things to do, and I'm kind of hoping between now and then that she decides she wants to sell the place and just move somewhere else, closer to one of us. But we'll see. Now, this is Post, not the cereal, but it is Post. It says right here, True Master 1085 CP is what is right here on this little section that says right here. If you don't know what that is, be amazed. See that blue velvet right there? She wore blue velvet. Protractor set, basically. Compass, all that goody good stuff right there. Look at all that. It is missing two pieces. That's why I got it for like $4. But it's missing the pencil here and the pencil here. I'm not sure which ones they are for this set. But to have this set complete is pretty awesome. And for $4, couldn't pass it up. Being an art guy, you know. Plus, this little piece right here alone, the extra pieces. Let me see if I can get to where you can see that. All these extra pieces that come with it. Right here, the needles, all that good stuff, the hardware, all that good stuff alone to still have in this set, because that's some of the first things that go missing in these kits and sets is all the extra hardware to make your pieces a functioning piece. And then, and then to still have the lead right here, several pieces of the lead that go on your compasses for drawing purposes right there, drawing your circles and all that good stuff. That in and of itself is very hard and rare to come by. So once I felt that all those were in there, and if you don't know what I mean by the pencil leads, this one right here takes the pencil lead. It goes, slides down in here, and then you put those little locking pieces in there to lock it in place like you see right here. This locks this into place, whatever depth you want. And then your pencil lead's over here, and then you point to the paper, and then you draw your circle. For those of you that don't know, that have never used one of these before. Now you've also got this one, which is a much larger version. That's got the pencil lead already inserted in it, right here. Someone's used this one before. So you can draw a much larger circle with that. But it's just a cool, nostalgic little piece that you don't see all the time. You can find little bits and pieces of these running around, but you usually don't find a whole set like this. You know, still in a relatively pristine condition, except for those two missing pieces. You know, it was used quite a bit by whoever had it, but there you go. You can find some cool stuff out there in the world if you actually go look. So it's just like the Atari that I didn't need, but ended up getting and still haven't even tested yet. You know, maybe I'll get that hooked up whenever I get the new section of Office built and test it out and see, because I'll have better access to the TV there. You know, all those good things. Because I'm sure it'll sit on a desk at the other side of the world, uh, depending on where the desk stops and all that good stuff. So, but I'm looking forward to it. Expanding this out, getting the roof done correctly, because I still got to. I'm still having trouble connecting with the person that did the roof in the first place. Uh, Messages are falling on deaf ears right now, and like the title company told me, if you're not able to get a hold of this person, the next step would be get a lawyer. Don't want to do that, but if I have to, I have to. You know, because it should have been done correctly the first time. And I know a lawyer in town that would jump on this case, especially for a disabled veteran. So, but right now, that's neither here nor there. It's just I'd like to get it done correctly so that it stops leaking, and I don't have to move my computer or my printer just yet, because that's a beast of a machine. The sucker is 2 foot wide, and it's just heavy. It's an Echo printer by Epson, so makes really great prints. But whenever you get water leaking down into it, the prints don't matter at that point in time. Oh, and then trying to get people that potentially have the information I'm looking for to, cough it up. It's like trying to pull teeth. So I will be giving another call back to this person today, to see if they will help me get any information, if you will. So we'll see. We'll see if I can get the information I'm looking for. And if not, then a lawyer will be involved, because the roof should be under warranty for at least 5 to 10 years. I don't know what most companies give warranties through, or how far out they give a warranty out on their work, but most companies do a 5 year to 10 year plan when it comes to roofing. At least that's what I've seen, out there. But all right, folks, that is it for today. I appreciate each and everybody stopping in, checking out the channel. Don't forget to like, share, and follow. And if you do follow us here on TikTok, go ahead and hit that bell icon up in the top of my profile and hit the all. Whenever you hit that bell, it's going to ask you two questions. Do you want to see this person's lives? Do you want to see this person's posts? And if you hit all, you'll know when I post, what I post, and when I go live. But again, that is it for us today. I appreciate each and everybody stopping in, checking out the channel, chit-chatting a little bit here and there. Love everybody. Don't forget to tell people you love them on a regular basis, because tomorrow is not promised. No matter how much you poke and jab at them a little bit, Roy. Love you, man. You all have a great day. And as I like to say as I leave you guys, we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.